Well, Judge Netburn, I'm going to continue on this line of questioning. In your court, what matters more, the rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked a question, which matters more?
Well, my political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't believe you. And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so he raped a 9-year-old boy. He also raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty, the petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
Hey everyone. Welcome back to America Patriots, the home of common sense, strong coffee, and people who say what half the country is thinking but are too polite to shout at the TV. Before we get rolling, smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. Seriously, subscribe. It keeps the algorithm happy. It keeps this channel alive, and it keeps me from wandering off into the woods yelling about federal bureaucracy like a raccoon with opinions. All right, today we're reacting to one of the wildest judicial hearing clips I've seen in a while. And folks, Senator Ted Cruz walked into this thing like he was carrying the Constitution in one hand and a flamethrower in the other. I mean, the man was fired up. If passion were currency, Ted would have paid off the national debt in this hearing alone. So let's talk about what went down.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
He was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
And also criminal deviant conduct, which the record doesn't disclose what that was exactly. Then, after serving in prison, Mr. McClain was released for parole, but then violated the terms of parole by having internet and was sent back to prison. 1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child pornography that was images of adults violently raping children.
Abhorrent conduct.
Okay.
For which there are real victims.
And this individual, 6'2", biologically a man. A minute ago you said that when this man decided that he was a she, you said this individual was, quote, I wrote it down, sober and entirely a female. That phrase struck me as remarkable. Did this individual have male genitalia?
I think what I said, or at least what
that is a verbatim quote, entirely a female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question you're asking me?
Yes, the other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision based on what the law is.
I asked you a question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
But you didn't think so. You didn't think so. And in fact, I'm going to give some quotes from your order because Senator Kennedy is right. This is not a judge's order. This is a political activist. By the way, the beginning of your order says, at birth, people are typically assigned a gender. I got to say that would astonish a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think you go to the hospital, a baby is born, and congratulations, you have a little boy, a little girl. The assigned a gender, I know you went to Brown, but it sounds like it's in a college faculty lounge with no bearing on reality. The Bureau of Prison argued what I'm saying right now, that if you put this person in a female prison, there will be a risk of sexual assault to the women. And you know what you did? You said you didn't care about the women. I'm going to quote what you wrote. You wrote, quote, The Bureau of Prisons claim penological interest in protecting female prisoners from sexual violence and trauma. This interest is legitimate, that's kind of you to say, but there are no signs that petitioner is at risk of reoffending. The record is devoid of evidence of incidents of violence or assault during petitioner's incarceration when she was the perpetrator, only the victim. A theoretical risk of sexual assault by the prisoner without more cannot support the BOP's position. No evidence, theoretical. Have you dealt, in what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
Okay, I know you've been told to repeat the line, I follow the law. I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, the BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown. I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered. I think you're a radical, and I think you have no business being a judge.
We got Judge Netburn, calm, collected, speaking like she tried to remember what her law school professor said about staying serene while the room catches fire. And then we have Senator Cruz trying to figure out why on earth a convicted repeat sexual offender, according to the transcript, someone who pled guilty to horrible crimes, would get transferred to a women's prison simply because they said they identified as female. And Ted Cruz? Oh, he was not having it. He dove right in like, Judge, what are we even doing here? Are we protecting people or pretending gravity doesn't apply anymore? And honestly, as a right-wing patriot watching this, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, good question. When you've got female inmates who are supposed to be protected by the system, the bare minimum the government can do is not put them in a dangerous situation. That's not politics. That's common sense. That's don't microwave metal levels of common sense. The judge kept repeating that she applied the law to the facts. Which, okay, fair. That's what judges are supposed to do. But Ted Cruz wasn't buying it. And honestly, watching the video, you can see why he's pressing so hard. This isn't a small stakes parking ticket case. This is about safety. It's about responsibility. It's about making sure we aren't using ideology like a blindfold while walking through traffic. And as a guy from America Patriots, let me tell you, I want fairness. I want justice. I want everyone protected. Everyone, the inmate, the staff, the women in prison. But when a convicted offender with a violent history, again, based on the transcript, asks to be placed in a women's facility, it is absolutely reasonable to say, hey, maybe we should think really carefully about this. That's not prejudice. That's prudence. That's what grown-ups do. Ted Cruz pointing out that female inmates have rights too? Love it. I mean, someone had to say it out loud. Sometimes Washington forgets that when you protect one group, you don't throw another under the bus like yesterday's leftovers. And you know what really got me? The moment where Ted Cruz read directly from the judge's written order. The part that said the risk to female inmates was theoretical and overblown. Now listen, I'm not attacking the judge personally. No hate speech, no insults, just analysis here. But from a right-wing patriot perspective, when a convicted repeat offender is involved, I don't think theoretical is the word I'd reach for. That's like saying sharks theoretically bite people while dangling your legs off a paddleboard in Florida. And Cruz calling that out? Chef's kiss. Classic Ted. Look, we can debate law, compassion, rehabilitation, justice, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, we've got to protect people. And Ted Cruz simply demanded clarity. That's the job. That's oversight. That's the Senate doing what we pay them for, well, occasionally. Anyway, If you like a channel that tells it straight, has a laugh while keeping things patriotic, and is afraid to cheer whenever Ted Cruz drops the procedural hammer, then hit subscribe. Comment down below. Do you think the Bureau of Prison Safety concerns were valid? Do you think Ted Cruz was right to push so hard? Let me know your take. Keep it respectful, keep it clean, keep it America Patriot style. All right, folks, I'll see you next time. Stay loud, stay proud, and stay free.